In this movie, we're going to learn how to fetch changes from a remote repository. In the last movie, we made some new changes in our Explore California repository, and we pushed those changes up to GitHub. But when we switched over to the Lynda repository to take a look at what Lynda would see, we don't see those changes there. Git log one line. Let's just do 5. Oops, one line needs an E in it. And you can see that it's not there. And it doesn't matter if we're on master or if we ask it for origin master. Same thing. It doesn't exist in master and it doesn't exist in origin master. Also, let's notice that if we ask for get branch, we only have our master branch. If we ask it for a list of the remote branches, it comes up and it just says that we have master there as well. But remember, we pushed up another branch as well. We pushed up the non-tracking branch. So there's both a new branch and a new commit on GitHub that Lynda can't see yet. Why is that? Well, it's because Lynda needs to do a fetch. Remember, a fetch is what synchronizes origin master with whatever is on the remote repository. Origin master doesn't automatically reflect what's on the remote repository. We have to tell Git that we want it to do a sync between the two. When I did this line here where I looked at the log of origin master, that doesn't actually go out to GitHub to see what the log file is there. It's looking at the local copy that Lynda has in her repository from the last time that she synced up, the last time that she did a fetch, which was when she originally cloned this repository. So this git log command can actually be done when we're away from a network connection. We don't have to have access to GitHub to find out information about origin master. We won't get the latest information. We'll get the latest thing that we sunk up the last time that we downloaded it. But when we do a git fetch, it does go out to GitHub and pulls down information, and we do need to have an internet connection in order to do that. So let's try that now. The command is git fetch, and then we can provide the name of what we want it to fetch. We want it to go to origin, which in our case is GitHub. So git fetch origin and bring everything back. Because we only have one remote repository, we can just abbreviate it as git fetch. So you don't have to type it all out. You can just simply say git fetch, and it will know that you mean to fetch from the one and only remote repository that you have. So let's try that now and see what happens. So you can see it counted the objects we don't have. There's 5 of them. It compressed them, brought them down, and here they are. This is the range of commit numbers. You can see this F3A370E is the commit that we were looking for. That's the one that wasn't there. And it found the new branch, right? This new branch, non-tracking. It brought non-tracking from the remote non-tracking into origin non-tracking. Now, if I say git log one line 5 origin master, now look at that. We see the change because now we've done a sync. Now origin master is in sync with what is on the remote. So it has all the same commits that are there. All those same git objects have been brought down to our machine. And if we do git branch, we can see we still only have one branch, but git branch R now knows about the non-tracking branch. We downloaded information about that. So whenever we do git fetch, it's synchronizing with the remote repo, and that means it pulls down any git objects we don't have, and it pulls down bookmarks that reference the tips of each of the branches that are on the remote. Now if we look at the log for just master, not origin master, but just our master branch, you can see that that commit is still not there, right? It didn't bring it all the way into our master branch. That's ours to manage, right? It just brought it into the origin master, which is going to try and always be a perfect sync with what's on the remote repository. It's just our local cached version of the remote repo. So that's an important point. When we synchronize with the remote repository using fetch, we just update origin master. Master doesn't change at all. If we're in the middle of working on something and we've got some edits in our working directory, those aren't affected. If we've made some commits over the last hour, those aren't affected. It has nothing to do with any of our non-remote branches whatsoever. A fetch is not harmful in any way at all. And because of that, there's absolutely no reason not to fetch often. In fact, I want to give you 3 basic guidelines that you should try and follow. The first is always fetch before you work. The very first thing in the morning that you should do when you sit down at your computer is do a fetch. Find out what's on the remote repository. What commits were made overnight by your collaborators. Get those all down onto your computer, and then you can decide what to do with them from there. The second is fetch before you push. You've got your commits, you've made them, they're not on a remote repository. Before you push them up there, find out what else is on the remote repository. Maybe someone else already pushed the similar commit, or maybe they pushed something that's going to conflict with what you're about to push. Go ahead and get those changes downloaded so that you know about them before you start putting new stuff on there. And then the last one is just to fetch often. It's not destructive, so there's no reason not to do it often. And you certainly want to do it anytime you're about to leave a network connection. If you're going to go take your laptop to work in the park, or you're about to get on an airplane, you want to do a fetch to make sure that your repository is in sync with what's on the remote. Now, because it doesn't automatically bring those changes into our master branch, if we want them there, then we're going to have to put them there ourselves by doing a merge. And we'll do that next.